Hi, I'm writer and poet Kay Spivey. I saw this done on Andrea Heckler's channel, which I will link the video down below. But I thought this would be a lot of fun. This is a list of the top 17 writers' stereotypes, and I'm gonna see how many of them I fall into. Stereotype number 1, writers are caffeine addict. I don't know what you're talking about. Stereotype number 2, writers are grammar and spelling police. I am actually a terrible speller. I am really bad. My family used to make fun of me because I'm really bad at spelling. My computer does the spell check for me. Grammar I know, but I also know what works in breaking the rules. I like breaking the rules. I did well in all of my grammar classes, but I read a lot of books growing up, so I sort of already had an idea of what you can and can't do, and so grammar is a loose thing. There are some things that it sounds best if you follow grammar, and there's some things where it doesn't, so I'm gonna give this a hard no. Number 3, writers are hermits. Not being a hermit when you have 3 cats, right? Tell them I'm not a hermit. Tell them I have friends even though I don't see them for months and months and months. Number 4, I already lost. Writers prefer cats to humans. I mean, writers are cat people. What are they talking about, Zuko? What do they mean I prefer cats to humans? I don't know what they're talking about. Cats are better. Writers drink in excess. That one, I'm just gonna flat out say, it really isn't true of me. The only time I drank a whole lot was when I was living with roommates and like when I was 25, and they liked to party a lot, so we would have people over, and like on the weekends we would drink pretty good. But I'm a super lightweight. Like 1 glass of wine is gonna do it for me. I never really drank a lot. If I drink past the point of tipsy, which is like more than 1 glass of wine, I start to get really paranoid. Does anyone else get this? Where like as you start drinking, rather than becoming like loosey-goosey and like having a good time like most people, I start to get super paranoid. Like everyone's judging me. I have to get out of this room. There's too many people here. Like something's gonna happen. So drinking at home I'm kind of okay, but if I'm out drinking somewhere, I really can't have more than like 1 thing anyway, because I get super paranoid and it's really bad. No, I don't drink in excess. I don't really drink at all. My husband doesn't drink. We rarely have alcohol around the house, and like I'll have something sometimes, especially if I'm out with friends. I might have something, but not usually more than like 1-2 drinks. If I drink 3 drinks, that's it for me. I've only been drunk a couple times. This is turning out to the longest section. If you want to drink, figure out where your limit is and stay in the tipsy zone where things are fun, because like it's no fun to not remember things. It's no fun to feel sick. It's really no fun to feel sick the day after. Be kind to your body, be kind to your liver, and you can have a lot of fun just drinking a drink if you really enjoy alcohol. So there's my soapbox on that. Number 6, writers are messy. If you turn the camera around, this is what I'm looking at. Oh look, it's pie. There's no evidence behind me of that. Number 7, writers are procrastinators. Yeah. Now, to be fair to me, middle school and high school taught me to procrastinate. I specifically had a teacher who his big thing was, I'm gonna teach you guys to never procrastinate, and he'd have these long, extensive projects that were just busy work. It'd be like, you need to fill in the blank in this, but you have to read the article to find the blank, and like it was like 200 of those or something stupid like that kind of thing. It was the dumbest assignments, and he was always like, oh, make sure you work on this for a month and like come in on your lunch periods to work on things. Like, so I didn't learn anything in his class. I learned from that class that I could, oh hi Mulan. So I learned from his class that, and it was a history class, I learned I could do his like month-long project the night before, like literally the night before. Only have to stay up till like midnight. This month-long project, maybe like 6 hours tops, that I could get it done. Hey, 6 hours tops. I could do the whole project and get an A in the class. So he taught me that I could do that, and then I kept doing it. So I do like to procrastinate. I also in college found that I could read an entire book in one sitting. So school taught me to procrastinate. I had to sort of unteach myself that, but some of it is I'm a creative person, and I think creative people tend to be more procrastinators, because I know that people are like, don't wait for the muse, don't wait for inspiration, but like we can't really help it sometimes. Sometimes you just get into the like mental state where you want to know what you're about to do and know what you want to do when you're working on a project. You want that inspiration to be there, you want the idea to be fully formed, and so sometimes we take a little bit longer because we're waiting for that to just click in our heads. And I don't know that I consider that necessarily procrastination so much as part of the process, but I think it does tend to lean us creative types towards the procrastinator side. Number 8, writers work on their stories in coffee shops. I have anxiety. If a coffee shop is empty, then I can't get out of my head that the barista wants me to leave. I can work in a coffee shop for a very small period, like a short period of time, but if there's too many people, I feel like there's too many people and they're watching me and I can't work on anything. Like even if I'm like sitting in a corner so they can't see me, I'm still a little bit like, But if I'm the only person, then it's like the barista doesn't want me here. I don't get too much done too much good work done if I'm working in a group. I can get a little bit of work done. And I have a lot of fun in groups. I haven't done a lot of writing groups, except for like NaNoWriMo. I did a couple of write-ins and that was really fun. For the most part, my anxiety's gotten worse as I've gotten older. So working while there's other people, there can be anyone around. I even have to like shut the cats out of the room and like really focus in to make sure that I'm getting my work done. I have a problem with it that I probably need to sort through in more than just this quick little video. Number 9, writers prefer the classics. There are some classics that are classic for a writing reason, and there are some classics that are classic for a content reason. Wuthering Heights is one of the best books ever to me. I think the writing is spectacular. I think the subject matter is extremely complex, more complex than people make it out to be. It's so well done. I've never read anything else that like matches it on every level. But then there are books like, I really tried to read Great Expectations and I cannot slog my way through it. I've put it down, hopefully I'll get back to it. I read The Hunchback of Notre Dame and like, oh my god, there are long sections where he literally describes like the corner of a room. And I'm not making that up. Like, there are some classics that like, the writing is not the reason it's a classic. Three Musketeers is another one where they like to describe some things that are not that exciting. People were getting paid by the word at one point, and it's not all that great, but there are classics that are classic for a writing reason. Those deeply in awe of. I don't know that I prefer them. I think it depends. I feel like the content and the writing need to balance for me to truly be like, this is a great book. There are books, I don't know that you'd call them classics. See, there's classics like Wuthering Heights is a classic, and then there's classics like A Wrinkle in Time is a classic now. It's a much younger book, but it's still kind of a classic. Or like Harry Potter is going to be a classic. You know it is. It's good writing. It defined a generation. So, and in poetry too. There are a lot of hoity-toity people who their poetry is still really popular because they were kind of rich. There's a lot of rich white dudes who wrote a lot of poetry that's kind of meh. But there's a lot of good poems that have lasted for a very good reason. There's a reason we read Robert Frost. There's a reason we read Edgar Allan Poe. But all of their poetry is not amazing. It's kind of the same as like anybody has some bad work. But then the contemporaries are also quite good and they're different. This is a long way of saying kind of. Number 10, writers are a depressed, melancholic lot. I think we can be. I think I go through seasonal depression every year in the February-ish time where it's just hard to do anything. Someone asked this in one of my writing classes. I don't know that I articulated the response to her as well as I remember me articulating it in my head. Basically, she asked why all poets are depressed, because I think we were reading Sylvia Plath, and so she asked why all poets are depressed and suicidal, and my response was, I don't think it's not that being a poet is the catalyst for depression. I think people who are depressed or who are prone to depression tend to be the type who gravitate towards poetry. That poetry is one of the things that lends towards healing. And I think writing is one of the things in general that lends towards healing. So people who already are prone to mental health conditions like depression tend to gravitate towards that type of healing process. Getting your words written down, escaping to another universe, like those kinds of things help a lot of people who have conditions like depression. And I think that it goes from that direction, not that way. It's not that writers become depressed by choosing to be a writer. It's more that depressed people are perhaps more likely to choose writing. That was my take on it, at least. Number 11, writers can write anything. Fact. Hard fact. Don't look for evidence. Don't ask me to qualify that in any way. Just fact. Writers can write anything. Hard line. No, I'm joking. Number 12, writers retaliate by writing about people. For me, not the way you think. For me, I journal really harshly. My journals are for only me and for nobody else. In that way, yes, but I wouldn't put someone in my story and kill them or something like that. Like, people I know in real life don't tend to be the characters in my stories at all. Number 13, writers experience writer's block all the time. Yes. I believe writer's block is a thing. I think it's not something you can rely on the way you can't rely on inspiration. You can't just say, oh, it's writer's block. There are methods for getting around writer's block. An experienced writer can overcome it. But absolutely, I think there are absolutely times when you're just like, can't do it, either physically, mentally, like something's not falling into place. I can't get through this part. And I think there are a lot of techniques for getting through that part, but I think writer's block is absolutely a thing. Number 14, published writers are rich and famous. Some of them are. It can happen. You know, what's the phrase? Shoot for the moon because you'll land among the stars, which isn't true because the moon is a lot closer, so you should still shoot for the stars and maybe wind up on the moon, but you know, that's just bringing science into things. Writers are unkempt. Don't I look fabulous? What are you talking about? This is not how I looked about 15 minutes ago, but I don't know, unkempt. I do like wearing my hoodie around the house, but like, have I washed it in a week? I've washed it in a week, yes, okay. No, I'm not unkempt. I'm fine. I shower in the morning. Every day I work. Unkempt. Ridiculous. Number 16, writers are night owls. When I was younger, this was absolutely true. As I've grown older, I've gravitated towards being a morning person. I get my best work done in the morning now. Maybe it's because I'm 28, maybe it's because my work schedule and my cats like me to be awake by 7. Yeah, I'm a morning person now. Number 17, writers are broke. I have a day job. Writing has not brought me hardly any money. Probably, maybe is never gonna, but I have a really good job. My husband's got a job. So, oh, that was all of them. That was all 17. That was fun. I guess I fall into a few. I will leave my like how many out of how many down here so you can see how many I got out of that. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. I will leave the video that Andrea did down below, as well as the link to the article that I was reading for that. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. I hope you are having a great week, and I'll speak to you again soon, I guess. Good luck to all of us. Bye!